The United States military is on the verge of developing a personal air mobility system that will allow soldiers to fly through the air without being strapped into an aircraft or flying over bodies of water when required. You don't need an aeronautical engineer to tell you to know that this is an invention that could come in handy and can be extremely useful for so many things which we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's get straight into it. So the US Department of Defense is still pursuing this project to solidify a theory that they call neuromuscular augmentation. The first thing in the mind of the inventors was perfecting its urban combat capabilities. Combatants will be able to optimize off-road strategies with ease, and then always be an advantage aerially. The idea first started with the use of rocket packs to boost the movement. It sounds dangerous, but this was way back in 1959 when the world was still testing new ideas. It didn't take long before the jetpack wave hit an iceberg, but then in 1960 they got close to another interesting prototype in partnership with a company called Bell Aerosystems. They called it the jump belt concept, which helped significantly increase the Army's mobility. The military was quick to decide to go with jetpacks, dubbing them small rocket lift devices. However, there were several functionality issues that were found during this time. Then the military turned their sights to another possible solution: rockets strapped to the back of a soldier's uniform. It was an idea that had been tried before in the form of rocket-propelled guns, or RPGs, but it didn't really work out for the wearer. The biggest issue was that the soldiers would be exposed to the elements, much more than if they'd simply worn a backpack or a pack strapped on their backs. In addition to this problem, there were concerns about weight distribution and loss of control when wearing a rocket pack. The cost of acquiring and then building the technology came into play as well. So much was invested into making it better, but it only proved ineffective because it was simply clunky and could only fly for limited amounts of time. What's more astonishing about this idea is that despite all the obstacles and disregard it's faced for decades, it has refused to decrease. We could talk about pop culture and how its abilities have been shown in movies, video games, documentaries and all this other stuff, but there is more to it. A new milestone has been reached for the jetpack, and now it's one of the most talked about strategies for most major defense systems globally. The way similar technologies like 3D printers and turbine engines are getting smaller, it has become more feasible for jetpacks to finally find its breakthrough. It wasn't until 2010 before the idea roared back into life and startup companies began to release newer models that would satisfy users. Although the market was mostly directed towards home use rather than industrial sectors, the models were impressive and the specs were worth every penny. One known name in the business is Jet Aviation, and they are no strangers to applying the jetpack for both professional and business purposes. The company made a success from sales after hitting the 1000 horsepower mark, which makes it easy for your jetpack to fly for more than 6 minutes. They've even put more effort into teaching people how to use the thing. They offer training courses and safety tips for any buyer who wants to try it out. Looking at one of the smoothest ones ever built, Gravity Industries came up with a version that had 2 extra turbines attached to the pilot's hands, and it moved at an estimated speed of 85 miles per hour. It was the fastest at its time, but it could still not run for more than about 10 minutes. Then, during a trial in the Lake District in 2021, paramedics were transported up to a mountain to rescue 2 injured little girls with the use of jetpacks, and the results were amazing. Jetpacks have so much potential, not just for the military or search and rescue operations. And this is the major reason why it's always been overlooked. Their potential is limited. But it can do so much more than that, whether it be going up mountainsides, over forests, water, floodwaters, accessing disaster zones, or for any number of activities in so many fields of the human endeavour. It shouldn't be confined to just emergency use. The world very much needs this useful invention. It can help save many lives. Jetpacks are already used by some governments, such as the US military, and by police forces across the world, but with many more people able to afford them now, they could save even more lives. The price of a jetpack might not be affordable to the majority, but it can still be purchased commercially with an average price of around $400k. The concept is getting broader and better all the time with new developments. It's only a matter of time before we see jetpacks being used in everyday situations like helping people who've fallen off cliffs or in other accidents, as well as saving lives during natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, all of that kind of stuff. So with the idea looming in the background, many people are beginning to think it might be botched again because of some political and administrative reasons. Gravity Industries are rumoured to have created a certified plan, but are also yet to submit the proposal to something called the DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. The agency is calling for assurance of safety and precision because door-to-door usage is more feasible to achieve at the moment. They've pointed out the need to improve the electric propulsion technology employed to move the jetpack, and this is an efficient way to move vehicles, but despite its drawback like the battery pack needing to be recharged after each use and then the electric motor also needing maintenance and repair over time. Hydrogen fuel cells are another factor here. Most jetpacks are being encouraged to run on hydrogen fuel. The only moving parts in these motors are the electrolyte membrane and the vanes of the tubular collector. The electrolyte membrane separates positively charged hydrogen ions from negatively charged electrons, enabling them to generate electricity through chemical reactions with oxygen in the air or from other sources such as sunlight or fossil fuels. The unique combination of propulsion technology and hydrogen fuel cells allows for long distance travel in a single stage. The main engine will be a small jet engine, which is built to use the fuel cell to create electricity for use in the electric motors. This allows for maximum power, but also gives the vehicle an added benefit. It can be refueled at any fuel station, just like a car. When applied effectively, firms like Gravity Industries will then have a mammoth franchise on their hands. Before Jetpack Industries can realize its goal, there is a requirement that must tally with that of the United States, because the company itself has American applicants within it. As the invention begins to wave on and now looks inevitable to accept, global governments are planning strict regulations on partnerships with lawmakers to attain the security of lives and properties. As they say, with great power comes greater responsibility. Thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to us for more inside stories on innovations. Remember, the future is already here. See you guys soon.